Let's give it up for Liz and Lena. I don't know who has me following Lena on my staff, but you're going to pay for that. Thank you, Lena, for that wonderful introduction. Before we get started, I'd just like to say a brief word about the fire in Richmond, Indiana. And I want to let everyone know that we're working closely with our state and local partners. EPA was on site within hours of the fire, and overnight we began monitoring at 15 mobile monitoring locations. Today, the EPA team is on the ground and will collect debris samples in surrounding communities to determine whether asbestos-containing materials may have left the site. So we're following the situation very closely, and we'll continue to provide the community with any assistance that they need. Protecting the health and safety of all of our communities across the country is what we do best, and that's exactly why we're here today. I want to give a thank you to our EPA team. I want to thank Joe Goffman for his leadership, Ale Nunez for her leadership, and a very special thank you to Sarah for giving this agency 25 years. You know, I also want to thank the automobile, environmental, and labor leaders for joining us here today. Thank you all for fighting so passionately for a cleaner, healthier, safer future for all. When President Biden took office, he launched the most ambitious climate agenda in United States history, vowing to restore America's leadership both abroad and here at home. In every corner of this country, Americans are seeing and feeling the devastating impacts that the climate crisis is delivering firsthand. From the farmers grappling with droughts that are becoming more frequent and more intense, to families who are fleeing their homes because of catastrophic flooding or uncontrollable wildfires. In small towns, big cities, rural and suburban communities, folks can feel the weight and the urgency the climate crisis demands. And at EPA, we have the responsibility to meet that urgency with action. That's why today, I'm pleased to announce that EPA is proposing the strongest ever federal pollution technology standards for both cars and trucks. Together, today's actions will accelerate our ongoing transition to a clean vehicles future, tackle the climate crisis head-on, and improve air quality for communities all across the country. Light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicles are some of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gas pollution. The first set of proposed standards focus on light and medium-duty vehicles. It builds on EPA's existing standards for passenger cars and light trucks for model years 2023 through 2026. EPA estimates that this proposal would reduce our cumulative CO2 emissions by 7.3 billion metric tons from the years 2027 through 2055. That's equivalent to eliminating all greenhouse gas emissions from the entire current United States transportation sector for 4 years. Overall, projected benefits could reach $1.6 trillion. The second set of proposed standards would apply to heavy-duty vocational vehicles, such as delivery trucks, dump trucks, public utility trucks, transit, school buses, and more. The proposed standards are the final pieces of EPA's Clean Trucks Plan and will complement the heavy-duty nitrogen oxide standards we established last December. Like the light and medium-duty proposal, the heavy-duty proposal uses performance-based technology standards that enable manufacturers to achieve compliance efficiently based on the composition of their fleets. EPA estimates that this second proposal would reduce vehicle emissions of CO2 by 1.8 billion metric tons from the years 2027 through 2055. Overall, the projected net benefits of the heavy-duty proposal could reach $320 billion. So folks, that's close to $2 trillion in net benefits and over 10 billion tons of CO2 emissions avoided. This is historic news. This is historic news for our children. It's historic news for our climate. It's historic news for our future. And for me, like Liz, this is personal. I'm delighted to see so many children in the audience today. And I want to let Lena know that EPA, me, and all of us, we're fighting for your future. As a father of a 9-year-old, I can assure you that there's no greater priority for me than protecting the health and well-being of our children, ensuring that they have a safe, healthy, and reliable future. New technology standards will help us to meet the international commitments for combating the climate crisis, while improving air quality for communities all across the country, especially our communities that have long borne the burden of air pollution. Reductions in greenhouse gas emissions mean cleaner air and less pollution. It means less time away from work and school and increased focus and productivity for Americans all across this country. It means less sickness, and it means healthier Americans. That's why President Biden's historic investment that's what President Biden's historic investment in America is all about. And that's what these technology standards, when finalized, will deliver. Since I became EPA administrator, I've made it clear that engagement is key to delivering on all of our collective goals. Today's proposals are informed by a robust and inclusive stakeholder process from the automobile industry, the labor group industry, and environmental organizations as well. As we further develop these technology standards that pertain to clean transportation, I'm committed to moving forward collaboratively with all of our stakeholders. I'm grateful to all of us, and especially those of you who have helped us to get to this moment. I want to thank again EPA's phenomenal staff who work tirelessly night and day. I want to thank the advocates and organizations who've been fighting for decades. Please continue to help us. Please continue to fight for clean air and healthier communities, because your work has been pivotal in our progress so far. And I want to let everybody know that this EPA is committed to protecting the health and well-being of every single person on this planet, while ensuring that all people, no matter the color of your skin, how much money you have in your pocket, or your zip code, have clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and the opportunity to live a healthy and viable life. And every single day, I can report to you we're one step closer to achieving that goal. So thank you all for being here today. And with that, we'll open it up to press and take a few questions.
All right, folks, I have the mic back here in the press area. So any reporters with questions, come back this way. Great.
All right, good. This is on. All right. So Basil John with Nexstar. So we want to know, with this announcement that's come through, can you realistically reach this goal in 9 years? It's a very large projection of reaching that 2/3 when it's not even at 10% right now.
I believe we can. And I believe that because we're following the market trends. Listen, over the last 2 years, over $120 billion of private sector investment in electric vehicles and batteries. I believe it because when I look at the projections that many in the automobile industry have made, this is the future. The consumer demand is there, the markets are enabling it, the technologies are enabling it. And I have to say, this isn't something that we just started yesterday. This has been part of President Biden's vision from day one. When you look at the billions of dollars invested in electric vehicle charging infrastructure in this country, over 500 charging stations from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. When you look at the CHIPS and Science Act, billions of dollars to invest in manufacturing right here at home. The $7,500 tax credit in the Inflation Reduction Act. We're rowing in the same direction. And so I do believe that we can achieve this goal. But as I said earlier, it won't be achieved unless we work with all of our stakeholders to get there. And that's what we plan to do over the process.
Jennifer Deloe with Bloomberg News. Administrator, I'm wondering how you respond to critics who say the rule doesn't align with the Biden administration's, the heavy-duty rule, doesn't align with the Biden administration's commitment to 100% zero-emission truck sales by 2040.
I think it puts us on the trajectory to meet all of the targets that we've set out. What we have to do and what we have done in this proposal is we've done the modeling, we've looked at the technical feasibility, and we've looked at it in the years that we feel the most confident in, which is through 2032, but we're taking comment through 2035 as well. So listen, I think we're on target. I feel that we're on track, but this proposal and this comment period will help us to ensure that we get there together.
Thanks, Administrator Dave Shepardson from Reuters. Do you think this rule, as Republican critics say, will effectively end the internal combustion engine? I mean, do you see, after 2035, automakers still selling new ICE vehicles, or do you think these rules are so strict that it will effectively push OEMs toward EVs out of the ICE business?
I think that this proposal relies on the tradition, the 40-year tradition that we've always held to set technology-based standards. This creates a conversation for hydrogen fuel cells, electric vehicles. We can look at different variations of new fuel sources that we might have moving forward. I think we're giving the automobile industry options to choose from. And so when we look at this proposal and the opportunities to reach the very ambitious goals that we've set, we're not prescribing any mandates. And we're not driving any particular technology out of business, so to speak. I think we're giving the markets and the automobile industry and the private sector the options to choose on how we best move forward to reach these very, very, very ambitious climate goals that we must reach if we are to protect this planet and to ensure the health and safety of all of our children.
Stetson Miller with Gray Television. Will you be providing any additional incentives to promote the adoption of electric vehicles for consumers with this rule?
I think what we're doing is we're partnering very strategically with all of the incentives that have been placed in 3 pieces of historic legislation led by President Biden, and that's the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act. There are tax incentives, there are infrastructure incentives. We're doing a great job, in my opinion, of marrying regulation with historic incentives that have been laid out there. And listen, this is going to be done in concert and in conversations with our environmental justice communities, our environmental communities, our automobile stakeholders, and the labor workforce as well. We're going to try to align all of these forces with markets and technology to achieve these goals. And at the end of this, it will ensure American leadership in the world in terms of leading on technology and transportation and protecting the planet and human health. So this is a great deal for this country.
Thanks, Administrator. Grady Trimble with Fox Business. As I'm sure you know, most EV batteries right now are produced in China. So how do you balance the administration's climate goals while also trying to achieve its goal of reducing reliance on China?
That's a great question, and so we look at it in twofold. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time. This proposal doesn't kick in till model year 2027. So we've got some years to ramp up. We hope that we can take advantage of that runway and follow the investments of historic legislation to bring manufacturing, especially battery manufacturing, back here domestically. It's our goal that we don't overly rely on any countries. It's our goal that we are more competitive and don't rely solely on China for batteries and for solar technology and the like. And in the meanwhile, when you look at the benefits of this proposal from an energy security standpoint, this will reduce our dependency on foreign oil imports, about 20 billion barrels of oil. So what we're doing is we're strengthening our energy security, we're reducing our reliance on foreign oil, we're reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and harmful pollution, but we're also encouraging significant opportunities for job growth and manufacturing back here domestically while we win the 21st century with this technology competition.
Folks, that's all the time we have for questions. Please send any follow-ups to press@epa.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.